Hi everyone and welcome to my Game Week 6 team selection video. It's a special one. I'm on wildcard, so there's so much to discuss. Apart from my wildcard team, I've also got a graphic which I shared last week. I had positive feedback, it helped out a lot of managers. So you're going to want to stick around for that, take a screenshot. It will help you with things like benching order, which attackers to play, which defenders to play, clean sheet odds, all that good stuff. So it's very useful. Lastly, we're going to discuss captaincy. Yes, we know there's Haaland perma captain. I know he even scored against the best defense Arsenal last week. Where there will be certain game weeks, if you want to take a gamble and go against him, this could be one of those game weeks. There's two perfect alternatives. If this sounds good to you, do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. Starting my goalkeeper, I've gone with David Raya. I've tried to go for a premium goalkeeper this season. Something I don't normally do, but I'm doing it. I want to set and forget. Someone like him could stay in goal, give me a steady flow of points until I wildcard again, or unless I'm unlucky and he gets injured. Now, speaking of injuries, he is yellow flagged, and this is a problem I did not want. He picked up an injury against Manchester City last week in a very furious game, actually, toe-to-toe, two big teams going at it. It was a heated game and he's picked up a knock. We saw him limping after with a plaster on his knee. To me, he looked okay, if I'm honest, but then he missed the midweek fixture and it must have been something for them to play a youngster, 16-year-old. In fact, they didn't even need a goalkeeper in that game. They thrashed Bolton 5-1, so it was a straightforward fixture for them. But we did get an injury update. They spoke to Arteta and he said on David Raya's conditions, we don't know yet. He's got muscular injury, so we need to check. Very vague, not good for us, especially us wildcard managers who want to just lock this in. Now, this is a position I really had my heart set on because Arsenal's fixtures are lovely. Arsenal last season were incredible in clean sheets with 18, and I think this season they're going to either match it or beat it. So I really want him in goal. If I do get the right information that he's not going to start, I think I change it, and then it's a snowball effect. Once I change him, it impacts another 2 or 3 positions. That's how it works on the wildcard. Let's have a look at the defense. I've gone for 2 premium defenders and 1 cheap defender. But the cheap defender plays for Manchester City. So if this one works out, it's going to be an incredible pick. 4.7 million for a Manchester City defender with the upcoming fixtures and Manchester City being one of the best teams in the world. It seems a no-brainer. The risk here is when things got difficult and Manchester City last week played Arsenal, Pep went to his tried and trusted Kyle Walker and Lewis was dropped. Now, this isn't ideal, but when I read certain articles by specific newspapers, they predict that he could come back into the team, and I think that's enough for me to take the risk, especially if you've got a bench to cover yourself just in case. But I think the opportunity is too good to miss. Manchester City defender for that price? Nah. We've got to be there. Beside him, I've gone for Gabriel, which makes up my double Arsenal defense. He's been incredible this season. Everyone always talks about Saliba, and rightly so. He's an incredible centre-back, but for me, Gabriel is just as good. So good in both boxes. Attacking-wise, he's unreal. That stat of him scoring the most goals of any defender since he came into the Premier League sums it up. You saw last week, Manchester City couldn't deal with him. They tried different markers. He just punished them, and they couldn't stop him. Too strong, too aggressive when attacking the ball. Trent makes up the 3rd defender. He's having a great season. Liverpool, in fact, is having a very good start to the season. Clean sheets are there. Attacking potential is there with him. In fact, I think we've missed points this season. There's plenty more to come. And when you look at the fixtures, we'll start with Trent's fixtures. Wolves away, Crystal Palace away. 2 gorgeous fixtures. Yes, they're both away, but it doesn't matter. The way Liverpool are playing this season, they're plucking teams off. And Trent is one of the main guys. His vision, whether it's from deep or from a 10 position, he's just such a constant threat. Arsenal, look at these 3 fixtures, hence why there's a double up in defense. Leicester at home, Southampton at home. 2 games at the Emirates against arguably the 2 weakest teams. And then Bournemouth away, which is just as good. 4th game is Liverpool when they meet each other, then Newcastle away. Arsenal, to be honest, when they play a difficult team, they tend to tighten up and actually give their opponents even less chances. And Manchester City, like I spoke about, this is why this Lewis pick has incredible potential. Newcastle away, Fulham at home, Wolves away, Southampton at home, Bournemouth away. Those fixtures, it's ridiculous. You've got to be in there to have a chance. In fact, I was looking at permutations if I could double up on the City defense, but it's very difficult with my budget. When you see the subs bench after, it will make a bit more sense for you why I've gone for these players here. In midfield, I've gone for 1 premium attacker, which is Saka. I'm very confident on him. I think he's one of the locked-in picks. I've gone for 2 medium-priced midfielders, which is Diaz and Bumo, and I've gone for 1 cheap midfielder, which is Rodgers. Let's start with Saka. He completes my triple up in Arsenal. He's having a good season. He's very steady. You can always be assured of the 6 to 9 pointer, but with the next 3 game weeks, I think he's predicted at a higher ratio and more attacking returns are on their way. Diaz has had an excellent start to the season. He's really flourishing under Slot. The only downside is realistically, Slot has too much attacking talent, so he's been taking him off around the 65th, 70th minute, which is not ideal. I definitely want to all in for the next two fixtures, and after that I can assess and maybe downgrade him, but the next two look good to me. He's in my team. And Bubo in my midfield is an easy pick and definitely locked in. Brentford's fixtures are gorgeous. I know Brentford have had a mixed start to the season and they're not exactly flowing. He himself has had a great start. 2 excellent goals. I'm not sure if you saw the goal against Spurs. Ridiculous volley. So he's definitely a man playing with confidence. Wissa being injured and Tony not being there means most of the attack is going to come through him. He's the main guy now with penalties and all sorts. So for me, easy pick, locked in my team. And last in my team is Rodgers. I've spoken about him in previous videos. Very impressive start to the season. This is a very good player here. Yes, he's dodged points. I know game week 5 he finally returns with the 2 assists and the bonus points. Hopefully, I'm expecting more. It's a gorgeous fixture, Ipswich away. Villa's fixtures are still good, and you need to add that Villa are a good team. Strong, they'll be challenging for top 4 again. In my attack, I've gone for 2 cheap strikers to accompany the very expensive super premium Haaland. Let's start with Haaland. It's an obvious one. He was in my game week 1 team. I'm not going to take him out. He can't stop scoring. Unless he gets injured or goes for a real bad rut, he stays in my team. In fact, it almost seems crazy to consider any other option considering Manchester City's fixtures coming up. He's the easiest pick in FPL at the moment, especially with captaincy being so important. Haaland stays. I've gone with Wood beside him, cheap, having a great season, and the big highlight of the last game because he took the penalty even though Morgan Gibbs-White was on the pitch. Now that threw us off. We all thought Gibbs-White takes the penalties. Is this something that's going to stick with him? If it does, it makes him an unbelievable asset. Now I know Awoniyi is going to be getting fit soon, which could eat up some of his minutes, but the combination of how well Nottingham Forest have started, the penalties, and the upcoming fixtures makes him a very good pick. I'm still coy on him, especially with players like Pedro, who I had before, potentially injured. I did like Pedro being pretty cheap and takes penalties as well, but Wood just having a better season at the moment, so I'm more than comfortable starting him. On the other side of Haaland is Calvert-Lewin. Now I know what you're thinking, an Everton player on a wild card. I know, right? This one here is strictly a fixture play. Now the good thing is Calvert-Lewin looks like he's regaining fitness. He's been playing 90 minutes recently, which is always a good sign. Not getting taken off like a lot of the other attackers we discussed earlier. It's hard to get 90-minute players. He's potentially one of those. Now I know Everton have started poorly this season. They don't even have a win, but the fixtures are about to turn. Now if Sean Dice can't get wins in these upcoming fixtures, they're in trouble. Calvert-Lewin takes the penalties, the 90 minutes, plus the fixtures. I think it's a worthwhile punt, especially at that price. Very cheap. There's so many other options up top that I wanted, but it's very tricky to get to them, even though I have 1.2 million in the bank. Now, when you look at the other strikers I'm missing out that I really like, then my favorite is Ollie Watkins. I can't get to him, unfortunately, unless I do some drastic changes in other positions, which I'm not too keen on. The other player I'm really considering is Dominic Solanke. Now, he scored midweek for Spurs. It looks like he's back to fitness. The minutes are looking good, so these are all positive. Spurs have had a hit and miss season so far. A couple of good performances, yet still lost them. But to see him playing near 90 minutes, it's a big positive. Son came off injured, hobbling, so does that mean Dominic takes the penalties? I mean, I'm not sure. They're just speculating, but it would make him even a better asset. He's a more realistic one. He's 7.5 million. I could get him in here. I've tried a couple of different permutations, but it means sacrificing plays maybe in midfield or in my bench, which I'm about to show you. And lastly, Havertz. Now, this one is important. He would definitely be in contention. If Raya is going to be injured, my Arsenal triple up immediately becomes a double attack and 1 defender. I'm not going to try go Saliba and change the structure of defense. No, I don't want that. Havertz would replace Wood for me, and it would make more sense once I show you the table after this. It shows you the amount of goals Arsenal predicted to score, and you'll see why the double Arsenal attack is good. It could turn out to be even better than a double defense. So as you can tell, there's still more work for me to do in the wildcard, but as of recording, this is where I'm at the moment. Let's have a look at my bench. On my bench, I've gone for Fabianski as a non-playing goalkeeper, which is making me nervous, especially as Raya is yellow flagged. Something I'm keeping an eye on before the deadline. First sub is Smith Rowe, having a great season. I'm a big fan of him. He's arriving in the box, starting to take good quality shots, and the minutes are improving game by game. He rotates beautifully with Rodgers, so when Rodgers has a difficult fixture, Smith Rowe can play. So I'm pretty happy about that combination. I know he's the same price point as Semenyo, and Semenyo's got 2 incredible fixtures, but after that they get tricky, and I'm thinking do I just stick with Smith Rowe and not have to make a transfer in 2 game weeks? That's the thinking at the moment. Beside him, I've got tried and trusted Konsa. I know he hardly ever gets attacking returns, but it's a player that is steady Eddie, and if Lewis doesn't play, I could bring him in. And last on the bench is Greaves, a £4 million player, which just leaves money in my bank if I need to do other moves. And if I'm totally honest with you, I'm really hoping I don't ever have to utilize him. So that's the full team there. Get in the comments and let me know what you think. Do you like it? Do you like how I've spread the funds where I've got 2 cheap strikers and 1 expensive one, or do you think I should move it around? For now, I would tell you, I will highlight some of the players I think are not locked in my team. So Raya, depending on the injury. Now, of course, if he's injured, he'll be out and I'll make movements and I'll utilize that money. Dominic Solanke, I'm still not 100% sure. I did say to you, he's a nice pick, good fixtures, but I can't get past my head. It is Dominic Solanke and he plays for Everton. Konsa, I just spoke about him being a steady Eddie, but it's potential I could move him to Mikalenko with superior fixtures and maybe even free up a bit of money where I might be able to change one of the other attackers or improve a midfielder. These 3 could still change and have a huge impact to my team. Let's have a look at the clean sheet odds and the predicted goals graphic I was telling you about. Definitely take a screenshot of this. Something could happen to your team, an injury, and you've got to make a transfer or move your bench around. This should help you to tell you what teams to attack, which teams have got less chance of keeping a clean sheet, which teams are going to score more goals. Let's use Liverpool as an example. This weekend, they're predicted to score 2.45. I've highlighted it in green. Anything above 1.5, I'm highlighting in green because that means the teams are looking to score 2 or more goals. And then you look at Wolves' clean sheet odds is at 9%. That's why I've highlighted it red. It means that's a defense we want to attack. And it means if you had a Wolves defender and he was second on your bench, you might want to move him to third on your bench. The odds are not looking good there for a clean sheet. On contrary, you look at Liverpool's clean sheet odds at 38%. Anything above 30% for clean sheet odds, I highlight in green as well. So that means Liverpool's got a good chance of keeping a clean sheet here. When you check it against some of the other teams in this sheet, you baseline it and start seeing which teams are more likely going to keep a clean sheet. So for example, Man City's got 31% chance of keeping a clean sheet. Look at Arsenal, which makes sense. Leicester are pretty toothless and Arsenal one of the best defense in the world, so they've got 55% chance of keeping a clean sheet. As well as Arsenal's incredible defensive stats, you want to look at their attacking. They're predicted to score 2.7 goals, near 3. So if you are doubled up on the Arsenal attack, you should be excited. There should be returns coming for you here. And when you look at Leicester's clean sheet odds, it makes sense. At 7%, they're going to be conceding. So another example is if you look at the Manchester United versus Tottenham. This gives us an idea that there's going to be a high scoring game. Look at the clean sheet odds, but one's at 18%, one's at 15%. They look like they're both going to concede and they're both close to 2 goals this game. It means it's got potential for a high scoring game. I tend to agree the way both teams are defending this season. Very useful sheet. Keep that locked away. Every week I'll be providing you with this. Let me know in the comments if you're finding this a useful graphic. Let's have a quick look at captaincy. And I know you're going to say it, I'll just captain Haaland. Yes, you can. You can perma-captain the Terminator. He scores every game. He even scored against Arsenal, which is the best defense. This week, he's got Newcastle away, which isn't the best fixture. But then again, the way Newcastle are playing and Burn versus him seems like a match made in heaven, that. He's having a shot net every 17 minutes, so the chances are coming. He's had 26 goal attempts and he's already scored 10 goals. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go against him. But what I am going to say, there are alternatives this week. Look beside him. We've got Saka with a gorgeous fixture, predicted to score near 3 goals Arsenal in this game. Clean sheet odds are looking drastic for Leicester. And when you add to it, he takes the set pieces and penalties and he's a minute machine, hopefully plays 90 minutes. He's definitely a viable option. Now, of course, his stats are not going to stack up compared to Haaland, but he is having a shot every 35 minutes. He's had 11 goal attempts and he's already scored 1 goal. In these next 3 fixtures, you'd like to think he's going to ramp them numbers up big time. And the other option is Mohamed Salah. Like we discussed earlier, the predicted goals versus Wolves is looking good. Wolves' clean sheet odds is also looking good for this fixture. Mohamed Salah is having a great season. He's already had 17 goal attempts and he's already scored 3 goals. Wolves are primed for him this game week here. He had a nice rest midweek when Liverpool thrashed West Ham. It's all looking good. So if you are fancying going against Haaland, this game week we have 2 nice options. So get in the comments and let me know, would you go against him this game week? Or is there another captain that I'm missing that is better than these 2 alternatives to Haaland? Get in the comments and let me know. Hope you enjoyed the content, but more importantly, I hope you found the content useful. Wildcard can be a stressful period, and trust me, I'm struggling at the moment. There's so many options. In theory, it should be straightforward. It's not. Get in the comments and let me know how your wildcard is going. And if you're not wildcarding, are you feeling confident against the teams you're seeing? Before you jump off to your next video, do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. If you want more wildcard content, definitely check this video out. I spoke to FPL Fran, who's an excellent FPL manager, incredible content creator, and he's on wildcard as well. So it'll be a perfect video for you to look. We go through it in major detail regarding his decisions and why he's picked those players.